Charlie, Brighton 3, Manchester United 1. Simple question. How and what went wrong?
Well, the first 20 minutes or so was actually really, really good. Like, you had Eriksen turning in midfield, like the old Eriksen. Yeah, Rashford was doing little flicks. You know, we looked really, really bright in the first 20 or 30 minutes. And then I think tactically, like throughout the game, I think we struggled like with the diamond. It was interesting to see that we started with the diamond and the split strikers. Like, that's something I've thought about before, maybe against the top teams when you want like to play on the counter, for example. But I thought after sort of half an hour we struggled with Brighton's fullbacks because they build up in like a very, very sort of wide four. So they have the two centre backs, the two fullbacks really wide, and then they play like a 4-2-4, like a 4-2-2. So what happens is like their fullbacks stay really, really wide. So because we didn't play with wingers, our midfield players that were wide midfield players that were so narrow had to keep going out to their two fullbacks.
Constant.
And if you're Eriksen, it's a bit too much because we know Christian Eriksen physically is not the same player he was before, and even McTominay struggled at times to do it, but he can obviously do it to
loads, especially second half.
But yeah, so I feel like it worked for the first 20 or 30 minutes, and then I thought as the game went on it got worse for that particular reason. And also I think when you don't play with natural wingers, you don't stretch the pitch, so we weren't getting a huge, apart from Reguilon, who got a good amount of crosses in all fairness, we weren't creating enough chances in the box basically. And I think it took Ten Hag too long to change it. Obviously he brought on Garnacho, Pellistri, Wan-Bissaka at the end. I really don't like when he only leaves 3 defenders on at the end.
Oh, it's mental.
You're
just waiting to concede a fourth, and we probably should have.
Yeah, I know it's because people will say, like, people who are watching will say, oh, we wouldn't have scored anyway, blah, 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 the game was gone. But if you, the fewer defenders you have on the pitch, the harder it is to build out from the back and create those chances that you need to do. And he's done it before at home against somebody else when we needed a goal. You need to leave all your defenders on the pitch so you can build through to your midfield, to the attack. Bruno was playing in the 6 at the end, and then he ended up at centre-back.
Centre-back, bro.
Right at the end, he went
centre-back, fully.
So your most creative
João
player,
Pedro, your Evan Ferguson, you go, bloody hell, give me this ball now.
Your most creative players at centre-back at the end of the game. I think, and I do blame Ten Hag for those two things, not changing it quick enough and changing it back to a 4-3-3. He could have taken one of the midfield players off, put Bruno, play Casemiro, or take Casemiro off because he was very poor. Or Casemiro, McTominay with Eriksen and Bruno. And then you could have had Pellistri come on the right, and Rashford maybe could have been taken off as well for Garnacho because Rashford was really poor, and then Højlund up front. But he didn't change it quickly enough for me. And then doing that thing he does at the end, taking a defender off and bringing a striker on. The more attackers you have on the pitch, it's actually harder to score because you can't get the ball to them, Flex. You need to be able to build up consistently, and you're playing against one of the best pressing teams in the league. So if you take one of your centre-backs off, your build-up structure gets killed, and one of your most attacking players has to come to centre-back, and then you miss them in the final third. We didn't have Bruno in the final third when we needed to create something, so it's just suicide. So I'm really, really annoyed with Ten Hag on that. But that doesn't excuse individual performances that were really,
Where do you stand on those individual performances there? Who stood out for you as like not at it today?
Rashford was horrendous at times. I thought he started quite well. But
he started, mate. The way he started, I thought, bloody hell, Rashford's on this. What's happening here?
Like him and Højlund, okay.
Ridiculous, I was thinking this is exciting, but like you said there, it just went down from there.
Went downhill. I've talked about this before, like the reason why Rashford scored so many goals last season, and if you look at Rashford's best scoring seasons, he has an unselfish striker, Weghorst or Martial, that he can play off. Now, Højlund can do that to an extent. You saw him hold the ball up and play that really good curve pass into Rashford in the second half.
And then he sprinted his arse into the box, and all does he need? What does he need? Just square it.
Yeah.
But he shoots into the side net.
Yeah, and I don't mind Rashford shooting when he needs, when he should shoot.
But look at the goal that just got disallowed. I mean, yes, the ball went out. I understand that. Took his fullback to the line, cross it.
Exactly. And remember what we said after the Forest game?
Yes.
Rashford going on the outside, creates chances. We nearly got another goal today from that. So I feel like we really, really need to sort out this right winger situation as well. Obviously, that's a massive issue because I don't think Ten Hag, even if Ahmad was fit, I don't think Ten Hag trusts any of the options we've got to play right wing. So I think this diamond is here to stay, Flex. Because it's clear if he doesn't trust Pellistri at home, okay, Brighton are a good side. If we play Palace next, and he doesn't start Pellistri in that game, then he's not going to play.
And he's not going to go to Bayern and play Pellistri on the right, is he?
It's definitely going to be the diamond again, I think, at Bayern. I think it's definitely going to be that again.
Not Bruno maybe on the right, and then it does sacrifice his game, but would he look at that and say, I can't do that again?
Did you see what he said in his before the game, he said we've been working on the diamond. It was supposed to be against Arsenal, the diamond, but McTominay got a knock or something. So they've been working on this for weeks. He said. So this isn't
just out the blue.
This is not like a temporary. This is going to be a permanent fix while Sancho and Anthony are out, I think.
Because now you're looking at it and you're saying, well, profile-wise, with the types of central midfielders that we have in terms of being able to cover those types of distances, whoever's going to be left and right of that diamond, you don't have a Fred.
No.
McTominay.
Amrabat will help.
Yeah.
So I think Amrabat will most likely replace McTominay
And
or
Mount as
Eriksen,
well.
maybe.
Do that.
Yeah, Mason Mount when he comes back in will do that well, but maybe I don't think Amrabat will start against. It might be a bit too early against Bayern, but we might see. While Mount's out, you might see Casemiro, Amrabat, Eriksen and Bruno, or sometimes in certain spells of games you might even see Casemiro, Amrabat and McTominay if we need to be tough. But I thought McTominay had an awful game today, to be honest.
Was that out of the position that he was in, or lack of fitness, or Lamptey's just too quick, or the unfamiliarity he has with being in, as playing in that diamond, having to cover that space? But he was poor, yeah.
I think it was a mix of not tactically adjusting and just being poor himself. Like, you see the best teams like Man City always adapt, Pep always adapts, and his players are tactically astute. They can adapt to different circumstances, but I don't think a lot of our players are tactically astute. And I don't think Rashford and Højlund. I think Højlund did well linking with Rashford, but the other way around, it didn't really get it back. So for what we do against Bayern, I think Wan-Bissaka will definitely come in for that game. I think Dalot will go back to left back. Although Reguilon played well, I think that's why Wan-Bissaka didn't start today. Maybe because we played a diamond as well. Because if your midfielders are narrow, you need a fullback that can bomb on, and that's why Reguilon played. But I think against Bayern, I don't think Reguilon. I'm not sure he'll be playing up.
And he was probably our best player.
And he played well. He played well, but I don't think that's. I think Wan-Bissaka will come back in for that game.
Ten Hag, just to finish off in this little mini period here, because it's feeling low. We know what's going on off the pitch, outside of the club, etc., etc. And when you don't get results that go with it, it starts to weigh heavy. Didn't win at Arsenal. Cool. We said we did this, we did that, and it was close by margins. You get humbled at home like this. You then go to Bayern. If you're on the wrong end of the result there, you then get to Burnley away, huge pressure. How are you feeling about how Ten Hag needs to navigate through this? Because this is a real tough period now.
Yeah, I think we've got three major issues. I think the first major issue is this is Ten Hag's second season, so he's still trying to get his instructions across to the players. The second thing is a change of system when Mount came in, and then Mount's got injured, which has left us in a bit of a state. And the third issue is what's going on around outside the club in terms of players and owners. So I think, Flex, we've got to try and navigate until Shaw, Varane, Mount come back, and that's going to be a little bit easier in the home games. Although we've played a good team today. We've got Palace at home, Brentford, and we've got a few easier fixtures. We'll come back in a few weeks and see how that goes. Yeah. I think we just got to try and grind out results, Flex. That's our only way.
Nice one, man.